We will go ahead and get started here. First, I would like to thank Clover Nook Center for the Blind for allowing us to use this fantastic room, the community room here at their property. Special thanks to Keith and Mike for actually making sure that this happened. Thanks to Ms. Dukestein and the Public Works team for getting some things over here. So thank you to everyone for some extra effort. We are here tonight because a polling location is being set up at our normal meeting location. So there's paperwork on the table back to your all's right. It's a big crowd. I printed 10 copies of everything. So first come, first serve, I guess. And then there is a sign-in sheet for anyone that wishes to address council back there as well. So with that, we will go ahead and get started and stand for our prayer and then the Pledge of Allegiance. God our Father, we are all your servants. We trust in your mercy and love. We trust also in your guidance. Direct the meetings of this council of North College Hill to make good decisions for all the people who live in our city. Give all the members of this council wisdom and insight to know what is best for our city. Help us to be fair and just in all our decisions. Bless us all to do the very best we can. With your help and guidance, we pray this in your name. Amen. Call this meeting to order. This side tonight. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, it's good to see everyone who came out this evening. Big crowd. Appreciate the effort to come out and hang out with us for a few hours, or a couple hours, or maybe an hour. All right. So this is our first meeting for November. It is November 3rd. Mr. Hedger was unable to be with us this evening, so I will be doing double duty, so please bear with me. But with that, I will call the roll. Ms. Zorb.
Here.
Ms. Gaston.
Here.
Ms. Chichester.
Here.
Ms. Alexander.
Here.
Mr. Wilson.
Present.
Mr. Davis.
Here.
And Ms. Underwood.
Here.
All present. Okay, we do have tonight's agenda. I do want to review one thing. So at our last meeting, we had second reading for Resolution 18. I'm not going to read the title. But we did send Resolution 18 to Finance Committee. So Finance Committee did recommend some changes coming back to council. So in the packet, what you have is the original Resolution 18. This is all. And then the redlined edition, which I apologize, those are not color copies. But these were all sent to you previous. And then what the legislation would read after the changes. So that's what you have in your packet tonight for Resolution 18. So when we get to that point, before we do the third reading, I will call a roll call vote to determine if we want to update it to the new recommended legislation. And then I will also, when we get to that point, I will review what our options are, because this is the first time for me. All right? Does everyone understand? Perfect. All right. So you do have tonight's agenda.
Mr. President,
Ms. Zorb?
I'd like to make a motion to accept the agenda as presented.
Mr. President.
Mr. President.
Mr. Wilson?
I'd like to second.
No.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah, we don't have to. All right, motion on the floor to accept tonight's agenda as written by Ms. Zorb, second by Mr. Wilson. Any discussion? I will call the roll. Ms. Zorb?
Yes.
Ms. Gaston?
Yes.
Ms. Chichester?
Yes.
Ms. Alexander?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Ms. Underwood?
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. All right, you have the minutes from the 10/20/2025 meeting.
Mr. President,
Ms. Chichester?
make a motion, we accept the minutes from the 10/20/25 meeting.
Mr. President.
Ms. Gaston.
I second.
Motion on the floor to accept the minutes from the 10/20/2025 meeting by Ms. Chichester, second by Ms. Gaston. Any discussion? I will call the roll. Ms. Zorb.
Yes.
Ms. Gaston.
Yes.
Ms. Chichester.
Yes.
Ms. Alexander.
Yes.
Mr. Wilson.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Ms. Underwood.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. Next item on the agenda is communication. I was not given any this evening. So we'll move on to council committees, starting with City Community Development and Recreation.
Mr. President,
Mr. Wilson.
we haven't met since our last committee meeting.
When is your next meeting?
The next meeting is November 10th at 7 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you. Budget and Finance?
Yes, we had 2 special meetings where we discussed the 1500 building. And as the result, you see the changes that was made to Resolution 18. And our next meeting is next week at 7:30. Right. Yep.
Thank you.
You have to think about it.
Rules and Public Policy?
Thank you, Mr. President. We haven't met since we last met, and our next meeting will be November 10th at 6 p.m.
Thank you. And Public Safety?
Thank you, Mr. President. We haven't met since we last met. Our next meeting will be November 10th at 6:30 p.m. Ms. Gaston.
All right, sorry. All right, next is ad hoc reports. Does anyone have an ad hoc committee report this evening?
Mr. President.
Mr. Wilson.
Yes, I have just an update from OKI. The stakeholders met on, sorry, Mr. President, just give me a second, but that was the October 30th meeting. So the strategies are set out for the local areas. They have took a survey, so if anyone would like to participate in that survey, please see me. That way I can give you the QR code. You guys can just scan that QR code, participate in that. That's Ohio, Kentucky, and Indiana survey. And that is just to answer some of the questions as far as the plan they put together. So you guys, you know, if y'all have any suggestions or anything that y'all want to say about that QR code will take you to the site and allow you guys to participate. And that's all I have for the ad hoc.
Mr. President,
Thank you, Mr. Wilson.
Thank you.
Ms. Alexander.
can you give a little bit more detail as to what the plan is for, in regards to the survey?
Okay, Mr. President.
Go ahead, Mr. Wilson.
Yeah, so, so the closest, right off here, memory, because I actually forgot my notes at home, but the survey is just pretty much the laid out plan for OKI to move forward with some of the transportational projects that they have set up, and also some of the bike trails and walking trail projects that they have. So they put together a plan, and they brought it to us at the stakeholders meeting. So we all participated in that survey, and then they also allow the city to participate, residents to participate, to put your input into. So like I said, just get at me and I will make sure I get that QR code out so everyone can participate.
Mr. President,
Mr. President.
Ms. Dukestein.
Mr. Wilson, do you mind forwarding that to the city so that we can put it on the website?
Yes, Mr. President.
Mr. Wilson.
Yes, I can do that for you.
Okay.
Ms. Zorb.
That is exactly what I was going to suggest. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other ad hoc reports this evening? All right, hearing none, we'll move on to administrative reports and the mayor's report.
Good evening, Mr.
Good evening.
President. Instead of a report tonight from myself, we have representatives from Metro who will be giving a presentation during this time.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. I appreciate you having Metro, SORTA. We have two names. SORTA is our governmental name, and Metro is the name that you see on the side of our buses. So I'm going to give just a brief update on the Bus Rapid Transit Project, which is the next round of projects that are coming to your area. As you know, we rolled out Metro Now service, which is the on-demand, mobility on-demand service. The next is the Bus Rapid Transit, and what Bus Rapid Transit is a bus. It is a newer, longer, sleeker, more modern bus than our existing buses in our fleet. And it will travel from here, actually from Hilltop Plaza in north of Mount Healthy, all the way down to the banks at the riverfront. And we have two BRT projects that are being advanced right now as part of Issue 7 that was passed in 2020. So there's no new taxes that would be asked for these projects. We already have the local money set aside. And we are looking to make improvements to station locations. So the difference between these buses and your regular buses is they have stations as opposed to just a stop or a shelter. And they also have level boarding. So it's very much like the connector in downtown, so that someone can walk or roll, or if they're using a walker, can get very quickly onto the station and then onto the vehicle itself. They will have all ADA improvements so that anyone who is visually impaired or hearing impaired or all mobility impairments will be addressed through that new design. So we have two stations that are going to be here in North College Hill. One is going to be located called the North College Hill Station, and that one is located just here at Goodman. And then the other station is called the Cross County Station, and that station would be located at Centerbridge Avenue. And these will fit just right on the existing sidewalks, so we're looking to try and stay within the existing right-of-way as much as possible and not have to purchase anybody's home or business in order to make this project happen. It will stop less frequently than your current bus that will get you to downtown, which means you're going to overall get there about 25 to 30% faster than the existing bus. So we are very excited to have this project rolled out. We have some boards that are here in the hallway, and we're here to help answer any questions that you may have. We're still very much in the design phase and looking forward to coordinating with the city on this very important project. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone from council have any questions at this time?
Mr. President,
Ms. Alexander?
what is the forecast? How long do you think it'll take for this actually to come to fruition?
To get going. We are looking to begin construction in 2027, and we expect that we would be complete by the end of 2028.
Mr. President,
Madam Mayor?
your Center Ridge project, is that going to be in the existing spot where that hub is already, where that the bus stop is at Center Ridge?
Center Ridge, the transit
Yes.
center. I don't think we have a final location for that as of yet. Someone from that department is supposed to be here in a few minutes, so I'll follow up and get you a more direct answer.
Okay, and whereabout are you speaking on Goodman?
Right at the corner of Hamilton and Goodman for the Bus Rapid Transit. It would be right on the sidewalk there in front of the new Dunkin' Donuts,
Okay.
Donuts, and right there by Walgreens.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
Oh, and here's the gentleman who could answer your question.
Not to put him on the spot or anything.
This is Khalid Shamut, and he's our deputy of our strategic planning and vision innovation. We have a question about the Centerwell Transit Center location. Centerwell? Center Ridge, I'm so sorry. The transit center that's planned out here in North College Hill.
North College Hill.
North College Hill,
okay.
yep. Sorry, we go all over.
I'm sorry. Well, good evening, first of all. Thank you for having us here. Specifically, what was the question?
Madam Mayor, you want to ask again?
Yes, I asked the question of where exactly is the hub going to be on Center Ridge, the Center Ridge location?
All right, so right now we're looking at the site which is right next to Chase Bank, that parking lot, the Roses.
That's Goodman.
Goodman.
That's Goodman.
Yeah.
Center Ridge. Center Ridge is closer to
Cross County.
Kroger, Cross County. I believe she called it your Cross County.
Yeah.
This is the bus
we're,
rapid transit.
yeah, we're not.
That's the bus rapid transit
Yeah, that's
station.
okay.
Sorry, I thought you were asking about the transit center. We also
Oh,
have a
okay.
transit center.
The transit center.
That's her then.
Ah.
So that's going to be part of the BRT project.
Okay.
The Center Ridge. The transit center is, as we've, presented to the council a few months ago, Scott and I, it's still the same location. We're at the tail end of the environmental studies that we're required to do by FDA, the federal government. So things are progressing, but it takes a long time, but things are heading in the right direction. I don't know if you want to answer
And then,
that.
yeah, so that, the BRT station is just south of that intersection there at Hamilton and Center Ridge, right on the sidewalks at the street.
Mr. President,
Ms. Dukestein?
so I just want to make sure the bus rapid transit locations are at Center Ridge and Goodman and Hamilton Avenue.
Correct.
Are those also going to be complete in the 2027-28 timeframe, as well as the center that we have previously spoken about? And he said tail end, the last time you were here, we were in phase 2. Are you now progressed to phase 3?
Remind me, I have short memory, phase 2 and phase 3 of what?
Of,
The transit center?
no, the
Reinventing Metro.
phase, from my understanding, the last time you were here, the one located where Chase Bank and Rose's parking lot was, we were in phase 2 of the environmental study.
Correct.
And so the time frame for that completion would have been 27 through 28.
Yeah.
And
so
then this bus rapid transit program, also separate with the elongated buses, that is also 27 through 28?
they're going to be very close to each other.
Okay.
We're hoping that the transit center would be, a little bit, before the BRT. The BRT, the second corridor, which is the Hamilton corridor, that's slated to be operational before the end of 2028. On the transit center, the Chase Bank site on Goodman, we're at the tail end of the environmental. So probably within the next couple months, we'll finish that. We'll send it to FDA. We have no control over the federal government, how long it takes them to review it and send it back. From previous experiences with other transit centers, it took anywhere from 2 to 4 months. And then once they give us the green light, then we'll enter into negotiations with the owners. We've already talked to them. They are, a willing party to, sell that parcel. So we don't have any issues in that regard. Just have to agree on the sale amount. We've already done our appraisals, and then we'll start the design and construction. So the design construction, just the design itself usually takes about 9 to 10 months. So if all of that is done by early 2027, then construction will proceed by quarter two of 2027, and that can take up to about 12 months to complete.
20
So
months?
12 months.
12.
So So hopefully the transit center, if all goes to plan, will be up and running by early part of 2028, ahead of the BRT by a few months. I'm glad that you're taking notes and keeping us on our toes.
And Mr. President,
Mr. Davis.
okay. And also, in addition to the Metro Rapid, the BRT service, y'all also have Metro Now, the first mile or last mile service that it currently serves the northeast and northwest quadrants of North College Hill, and wondering, will we be able to get an update on when we'd be able to get Metro Now to serve the southeast and southwest quadrants of North College Hill? Translation, south of Galbraith.
Quite honestly, I don't have the maps with me. We have 6 zones identified as part of Phase 1 Metro Now.
Yeah, it's the Mount Healthy Zone, sorry.
Yes. So a couple of weeks ago, maybe 10 days ago, we launched the 4th zone, which is Blue Ash. So now we have the Blue Ash zone up and running. We have the Springdale, Forest Park, and the Mount Healthy Coleraine 4 zones. So, and then we have 2 more that are slated for next year. Actually, all 6 should have been already up and running. The only delay is we can't get the vehicles in time and hire enough drivers. So as fast as we can get vehicles and get enough drivers, we're launching these zones. And yeah, anybody who would love to drive for us, please apply. So both of these zones are slated for next year, pending the availability of vehicles and drivers.
Mr. President,
Ms. Dukestein.
I'm sorry, I have one more question. So the the BRT, those are the buses that are designed to kind of make sure that we are meeting the needs of the larger demographic with disabilities and those things. So the location that you spoke to is Center Ridge and Hamilton. Center for the Blind, which is our blind community prevalent here in North College Hill, is probably 1 block down, so that will require them to walk up. And you said that this bus stops less frequently than other buses. Can we make sure that there is a bus stop near this center so that they can be included if they are riding the bus, or at least considered?
I'm assuming that, talking about in terms of adding a bus stop on the local service, not on the BRT.
Well, if the BRT is for those that are dealing with disabilities, we want to make sure that we are keeping the bus stops completely accessible to those in our community that may have that as an issue, which is definitely Center for the Blind. So they'd have to walk up to Center Ridge and Hamilton, which is almost like a block and a half up. Just making you aware, because right here we are in the Center for the Blind.
Or south to go. Right?
Yes.
We'll take a look at the distances to make sure that we're providing everything that we can do from an accessibility standpoint. It may be something that we can slide further back a little bit before we get to that intersection. And then also we can look at the sidewalk that goes between here and the 2 stations and make sure that there is appropriate markings and tactile warning strips along the way so that someone who is visually impaired would have the proper navigation to be able to make it to either of the station platforms.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we appreciate the SORTA Metro team coming out this evening and the presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, next up, we have the city administrator's report. Ms. Dukestein.
I yielded my time for them. But I'll add, please get out and vote tomorrow. We have 2 important levies on our ballot for streets and fire. It does not require an increase to taxes, and that is all.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is the Law Director's report. Mr. Dieters was unable to be with us this evening, and that brings us to the Finance Director's report. Ms. Stephen Knotts, sorry. Stevens Knott. Ms. Stevens Knott.
It is a tongue twister. I did not realize. Good evening, everyone. Hope everyone is doing well. I just wanted to speak to our constituents, our residents, as we now know that the non-filer letters have gone out. And I wanted to just give some context. I have seen some information that has been out in our social media spaces that would lend to erroneous action. I am asking that as a taxpayer of the city of North College Hill, that you honor what the letter says, which says, call Rita. Or they say, provide us with the documentation that supports that you have paid North College Hill taxes for the years that are listed on your letters. So it is quite probable that you did have North College Hill taxes withheld. However, if you did not file your return, then you are listed as a non-filer in the city of North College Hill. So this is about getting our records accurate and also getting credit for dollars that were withheld from your paycheck. I caution anyone that is providing any level of tax advice. That is not a good thing if you are not a tax accountant or a tax person, a tax professional. Rita is very agreeable, and they also are not trying to make your life difficult. So please use the resources that are there. And you can also call the Finance Tax Office, and we have also additional information. But the letter is very self-explanatory. If the question is, how is it that they know I owe taxes, but they don't know how much I owe? It is because we as a city got into a relationship with Rita for their subpoena program. And you can go back in the archives to speak about that. So now Rita has access to your federal tax returns. So they have correlated those two things. If you filed a federal tax return and you live in the city of North College Hill, but you did not file a North College Hill return, they know that you owe, they just don't know how much. So please, call Rita, honor the letter. I do believe they gave until November 10th to honor what they're requesting so that things can move properly and without much fuss. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Ms. Stevens Knott. All right, that'll bring us to call of members, and we'll start with Ms. Zorb.
Thank you, Mr. President. I don't have anything to announce tonight other than please honor your civic duty and get out and vote tomorrow. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next up is Ms. Gaston.
Hello. First, I want to say thank you to Clovernook for allowing us to utilize their space this evening. I don't have anything else to say but to get out and vote and be safe, and that's it.
Thank you. Ms. Chichester.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. So I've been working with other cities close around North College Hill in relation to our SNAP benefits that have not been received for some people within our state of this month, or around the country, I should say. And we have resources available, and I'm working with 513 Relief Bus. They're going to they're picking certain communities to have food boxes handed out, and I'm working very hard to make North College Hill one of those sites. So I will keep you guys abreast on what dates we settle down with on that. But in the meantime, no one should go hungry. If you need resources, please reach out to me, reach out to someone, and let's all help each other. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Alexander.
I just want to kind of piggyback on Ms. Chichester. Us as a city, as a community, you know, in these times of hardship, we need to come together. If you know of an organization or a church that is providing resources, please share it. We share all kinds of stuff on Facebook. let's share some things that can help people. I'm glad to see area churches that are helping with dinners and lunches and food boxes. But if you know of some, please share. I know some of the libraries, they already feed children just during the school year, even as close as the Mount Healthy one. Take advantage of those resources. If you need something, say something. Don't suffer in silence. Even if, you know, somebody can buy somebody a case of water, you know, those things are really helpful. Also, I want to ask everybody to continue to support the students in North College Hill. I know football season is over with. They did a great job. Basketball season is about to start along with other sports. Please continue to support them. They are our future. They're looking, they're watching, they're very appreciative. And I'm just glad to see that so many people have already come out to support. It's an awesome thing. And once again, don't forget to vote. No matter, you know, who you want to vote for, just get out there and do your civic duty. That's it.
Thank you. Mr. Wilson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to start off by saying thank you to the administration, Mayor Nichols, Ms. Dukestein, City Administrator Knotts, Finance Director, Ms. Knotts, Chief of Police and the police force, the Chief of Fire and the fire force, everyone that came out tonight. I also want to say thank you to all my colleagues. Really do appreciate all the time you guys really give to North College Hill. It's truly, truly, truly a blessing to have y'all, to be working amongst y'all, to be, you know, in the same room with y'all every chance I get. I think it's a great opportunity. I have to say that I really enjoyed the conversation that Budget and Finance had. It was the first time that council, a couple of members of council actually had a decent conversation and got things done. We walked out of there complete that day, and I was happy. I know everybody wasn't excited about the results, but they are there. It is what it is, and, you know, it really did give me it was just a great feeling. You know, my colleagues fought to the end, and they put in that work. And for those who didn't, who wasn't there, who didn't come, y'all really missed a great conversation. Turned out well. And I want to say a supreme shout out to Mayor Nichols. I know the frustration that you go through every day, dealing with, the ups and downs and the back and forth and the navigating this city and doing what you have to do to make sure that we're on the correct path. I truly appreciate all the work you put in. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow is voting. Go out, exercise your right. Your voice is your voice. How it comes out is how it comes out. That's just how the system works. That's why we have a democratic system. So you guys can go out there and say, hey, yay or nay. And I appreciate it. So with that being said, that's all I have, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Mr. Davis.
Yes. Once again, I like to piggyback what everybody else has said. Hey, I like to thank everybody for participating in your city. This is your city. You are a stockholder. You are a shareholder. So please, you have power, and we don't just exercise that power on the first Tuesday in November. That obligation, that power it'll still be here even when we go back to different rooms. Like we're out here that we're willing to listen. We're here trying to build, and we all have your best interest at heart because we live in the same area. So the collective actions of us are the collective actions that they have the intention and the hope of benefiting y'all as well. So let's all keep that in mind and move forward going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Ms. Underwood.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would first like to say thank you to Clover Nook for allowing us to use their space for our meeting today. I would secondly like to say that I saw the street sweeper this morning on Clover Nook. It was approximately 11 o'clock this morning after I got out of court. I actually took a picture of it. So just to make sure, I was like, that I'm documenting this property, I was like, oh, there's a street sweeper. So I did see it. It was working. I would also like to let people know that Richie's on Coleraine Avenue is providing free meals to children of a certain age. I'm not sure what those ages are, but I know that they are providing free meals, no strings attached. It's my understanding that Hooks is doing that as well, but I have not verified that information. Also, Metro is providing free rides if you need a ride to your polling location tomorrow. And I just want to remind everyone that tomorrow is Election Day, to please get out and vote. And that's all I have, Mr. President.
Thank you, Ms. Underwood.
Mr. President.
Ms. Dukes-Dean.
I just wanted to ask, so many of you mentioned the work that is being done in the city to identify spots where individuals can get food. There's also a list of medical care because that also applies to Medicaid and Medicare benefits being compromised. I would like to put together a list and put it on our city website. So if you have a resource, please do email me or Ben, and then we'll collaborate that and put that on the website for individuals in need so that it's less, they don't have to ask people, so that they can get support with dignity.
All right, that will bring us to remarks from the audience. Madam Mayor, would you mind assisting me with the sign-in sheet? Oh, Ms. Dukes-Dean has it.
You can.
Thank you. All right, first up, we have Gerard Perry. Perry. Please,
I have no comments on this here, but I wanted to hear everything on the demolition stuff.
okay, so you don't wish to address council?
Not today.
Okay. All right, next up is Annalise Clear. Please state your name and your address, and you will have 3 minutes.
Annalisa Clear, 6917 Rob Verne Drive. I have 2 questions for council or administration. My first question is, and I want to take time to listen to the answers now, but what are the leaf pickup dates for this year? We've had several residents that have been asking about that, and I remember in a previous meeting, we were going to measure the participation in the leaf pickups to see if it was worth continuing to pay for this in future years. So if people are going to participate, they have to know when it's going to happen. So when are those dates? And my second question is, I was speaking to a resident this weekend, and there was concern. There are some very large trees, especially over in the area across from the neighborhood across from the golf course, that are in the area between the sidewalk and the street, which I believe is the public right-of-way. So the concern was some of them are very big and they're very old and they're dropping branches. And the concern is, who is the city responsible for maintaining those trees because they are in the public right-of-way? That is my second question. Thank you.
Mr. President,
Thank you. Ms. Chichester.
I just wanted to let residents know you don't have to wait for leaf collection day to put the leaves out. I believe Rumpke's.
You can only put 7 out at a time on a regular week.
Right.
You can't put out 10 or 15 bags.
Understood.
Yeah.
So if I was allowed to finish, I was going to say you didn't have to wait if you had a few to put out. Sorry, interrupt. I'm sorry. But I was just saying that you don't have to wait. I put mine out with the daily trash collection if you absolutely have to.
Mr. President,
Madam Mayor?
Mrs. Clear, is it, do you know the cross street for the trees?
It's, I'm gonna go to the podium so people can hear me, if that's okay.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I'm not trying to take up more time, I apologize. So the streets on Galbraith Road between like Pin Oak, Diana, Rob Verne, I believe it was Marbev,
So
was
from-
the street.
So
The
from
neighbor.
Pin Oak
Yes,
up,
yes.
coming towards,
It's on
Simpson.
it's like in the northwest quadrant,
Okay.
as you're heading toward Coleraine on Galbraith Road, those
Okay.
streets in through there. Some of the larger trees are in that strip of grass, and the neighbor was asking who's, because they're getting old and they're dropping branches and they're concerned about vehicle damage and
Okay.
people damage.
yeah.
So,
Just to have an idea, so when we talk to Public Works.
Sure.
We can direct them to the appropriate area.
Okay,
Okay,
yeah.
thank you.
Do we have dates for leaf pickup?
I'm looking for them. I just connected to the internet because I wasn't previously connected them. So we can go on and I'll come back.
All right, we'll come back and get the answer to that. All right, next up, we have Kathy Curitan.
Good evening, everyone here. So excited to see so many neighbors here. My name is Kathy Curitan. I live at 6718 Devonwood Drive, and I'm just looking at my calendar. 31 days in December and about 25 days left this month. How much time will when will council begin to look at our 2026 budget? I'm so excited to hear Mr. Wilson said you all had an amazing budget and finance meeting last week. But 2 weeks prior to that, or 2 weeks from this date, I actually posed the same question. I asked, when will the 2026 budget begin the review? I don't want any of our taxpayer dollars to be rushed. The expenditures, the appropriations, or even the cleanup ordinances or bills. I don't want our tax dollars to be rushed. So I'm hoping that this evening we can get some hard dates. I know that we're pushing against Thanksgiving, Christmas, but I don't want our city nor our citizens to have a rushed 2026 budget. So if we can get a hard date on when those meetings will start.
Mr. President.
Go ahead and ask the rest of your questions.
That was all. I'm waiting just for an answer.
That's the only question?
Yes, sir.
All right. Ms. Stevens, not.
I think it is important to know that the first part of the budget, which is 95%, has already been presented. It was presented in August.
Mr. President.
I don't believe there have been public conversations
Yes,
made.
ma'am. There was a public hearing that was posted because by law, we are unable to present a budget to the county without a public hearing.
I believe that was the tax budget.
But
I
what-
don't believe that was the fiscal budget for
They are the
operating.
same. They are the same.
So are those documents made public? I've been at almost 99% of all meetings, and none of the meetings that I've been to, has there been any discussion on the 2026 budget?
I'm not saying that we're complete.
Okay.
But your statement was that you haven't seen anything.
No, I haven't.
And I wanted to clarify that those documents and the public hearing have been held. Those documents are part of budget and finance meetings. I couldn't tell you the exact date because it's an ongoing process. And of course, we will there are two things that happen at the end of the year. One of them being the cleanup, and that's for 2025. That has nothing to do with 2026. Then, based on decisions that council makes at the end of the year, we will do another budget in Q1 of 2026 because we are not required. There are still some decisions there's decisions that council has to make, and until those decisions are made, our budget cannot finalize. However, the data that is in them doesn't change much. And so that data is available. I would have to look back at which particular meeting that budget that was presented, but I know that we've had it in Budget and Finance.
Sure.
We had it in Budget and Finance in September, and we will have it again we had it in October. It was just pieces of it because we voted on accepting, not just, we voted to accept the dollars of the county, but a part of that acceptance was our budget, which spoke to revenue and expenses.
So I thank you for knowing as the finance director. I'm looking though for council. I have not heard any council discussion, so I appreciate your preparation, but I'm more so looking at those who actually make the appropriations beyond your documents. So this question was really for council.
Ms. Chichester.
I was
You
next.
can,
Oh,
go
yeah, Ms.
right ahead.
Dukestein, I apologize.
I'm sorry, the question is for council. I apologize.
Ms. Dukestein did request to speak, so I'm going to allow her to speak, and then I'll turn it over to Ms. Chichester.
Just to recap, the leaf pickup, they are on the city calendar, but the days are November the 8th, November the 22nd, and December the 6th. So those are the leaf collection. And so we will definitely make sure that we put a flash out on the website as well as they're already on the calendar. And then I have denoted what you said about the trees. And I just wanted to qualify, Ms. Stevens she is correct. The budget went over to council for public review. In September. The first meeting where it was on the agenda to talk about was October. And they are still deliberating. They do have the whole document. And so all of those conversations require them to look through it. And I think that they're taking their time to do the due diligence coming up.
Ms. Chichester.
Mr. President, at several other meetings, we stated that the Budget and Finance Committee would have a special meeting just to discuss the 2026 budget, since our normal monthly meetings are so packed. And I think, Ms. Zorb, you weren't at the original Budget and Finance Committee meeting, but you asked for the documents, and I think we sent them to you. And then we discussed that we would have a special meeting just for that coming up, but there were some other things that were that took precedence that needed to get done. But we decided we would have that special meeting, so you haven't missed it. And Ms. Sheba Stevens is correct. If you check the agenda for the Budget and Finance Committee on the website, you will see that the 2026 budget was on the agenda as
Good.
Budget and Finance.
Good.
Thank
Just
you.
looking for a hard date, that's all. That was really the gist of my question. I love that council, and forgive me, Mr. President, I love that council has already had these documents since September. I love that. I think typically council in the past had received the documents as early as July.
They have.
Yeah, so I'm just looking at the hard date. When will those public discussions take place? That's really the gist of my question. I appreciate council reviewing it, but now the constituents of the city would also like to see it. So looking for those hard dates of when we can see those documents and hear those discussions.
So
Thank
when you see the special Budget and Finance Committee meeting on the agenda, it will say the 2026 budget.
Okay, looking forward to it. Thank you.
Have a good day.
Thank you. And then we have Ms. Susie Wheatlisbach.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Susie Whittlesbach, 1620 Flora Avenue. And my question is pretty much, I think, for the administration. So in the past few weeks, I've talked to a lot of residents, and they have mentioned questions about potholes on their streets. And so my question, number one, is when is the schedule for the street, like redoing streets for 2026? Is that still in the works, or is that already planned out?
I'm sorry, I missed the last part of your question. I heard you say potholes, but then something about 2026.
I know that every year you guys work on trying to redo some streets to make them more drivable. And I was wondering when your schedule for 2026 was going to come out.
The streets are already planned. We said it in the safety and public policy or safety, I can't remember which meeting.
Public safety.
Public safety, yes. It's jumbled today. But,
Because, I'm sorry, go on.
I can tell you what's next.
That'd be great.
Oh.
Because I'm hoping you're going to say Merle, Beach Knoll, and hopefully Bobolink.
I'm not going to say Beach Knoll or Bobolink, but I am going to say Morrill.
Then I highly encourage you to drive up on Beach Knoll. And I know there's 3 houses up there, but I just encourage you to drive up
So
there.
Beach Knoll is a
private
private
lane.
street,
It's a private
and so
street.
we
Private
don't
street.
take care of that as a city.
Okay.
I wish we could. What we have been doing is citing that property owner left and right because we appreciate that our residents are on that street. And our code enforcement officer has been on there. He and I just went up there recently to look at the condition of that street. And we've developed a plan as a city to speak to him. I've spoke to his commercial real estate representative, and I've spoke to him personally. We are very active at trying to get that taken care of. It is a private street, though.
Excellent. I'm glad you're following up with the person that would be responsible for fixing that, because they are really, the potholes are not even potholes, they're like craters. And then Bobolink, the bridge that connects the 2 halves is, you look down, it's like, you can almost see rebar in some sections. I was wondering, is that something that North College Hill is responsible for?
Bridges is ODOT.
So is there some way for us to follow up with ODOT then?
Mr. President?
I think Mr. Wilson is a good person to answer that because of OKI.
Oh, cool.
Mr. Wilson?
So, I have spoken to Mr. Scott from District 8, ODOT. So, we'll be working on a plan to move forward with bringing ODOT in to review our streets and look at the plan. All streets are supposed to be C and above, and we're gonna go through each street and find out what their grade is and work on the necessary plans to bring them back up to par.
That'd be great. Thank you for your answer. That's all I had.
Thank you. That is all I have signed in this evening for public participation. So that'll bring us to legislation. So we're done. All right. So again, I want to review this legislation. So we have third reading for Resolution 18-2025 on it. So in your packet, you have the original legislation. It is Resolution 18-2025, a resolution to direct the city administration to instruct RWB, Inc. to proceed with the asbestos and mold abatement at 1500 West Galbraith Road and to issue an RFP, request for quote, or request for, sorry, proposal, yes, sorry, for a qualified architectural environmental engineering firm to provide on-site third-party observations as necessary to ensure proposed asbestos and mold abatement is done according to industry standards and applicable code requirements. The selected third-party observation firm shall issue written special inspection reports to the administration and council relating to the abatements and subsequent demolition of the west side of the existing building, including the gymnasium, and the restoration and stabilization of the east wing, including administrative offices, council chamber, and any remaining spaces in the east side of the building. So the second part that you have there is 4 pages. It is the red line edition. Again, I apologize, that is a black and white copy. But it strikes out a lot of the title, includes in some new things. It strikes out in the third and fourth whereas. It actually completely strikes out the fourth whereas. There are strikes in section 1, strikes in section 2. And that is all the strikes. So that would change the document just by title to a resolution directing the city administrator to instruct RWB Properties and Construction, LLC, to proceed with asbestos and mold abatement at 1500 West Galbraith Road and to include the details outlined in Exhibit A and declaring an emergency. So, we had second reading for this resolution at our last meeting. We did send it to Budget and Finance Committee. This is the new proposed legislation, but we had to keep the third reading of the original legislation on here, so bear with me. All right, so First thing I'm going to do is ask for a motion to amend the legislation, resolution number 18-2025. And then if that motion passes, then we will continue to vote on third reading as the new legislation. If it does not pass, we will vote on third reading of the existing legislation.
Mr. President.
The other option is vote on the legislation as previously read. If it does not pass, we can introduce the amendment as new legislation. Ms. Chichester.
Make a motion that we amend resolution number 18/2025.
Mr. President,
Mr. Wilson.
I'll second.
All right, so I have a motion on the floor to amend Resolution 18-2025 to the proposed legislation that Budget and Finance Committee presented to me. That motion is by Ms. Chichester, second is by Mr. Wilson. I'll open it up for discussion.
Mr. President.
Who was first? Ms. Dukestein?
I just would like to add that this legislation was submitted very last minute on the agenda that it was initially presented to. And it skipped committee per the council bringing it forward, and then it did not go to committee. So there was a large discussion around, should it stay on committee? Should it, should it go over to committee? Should it stay on the agenda as is? And the agreement per the council body and President Pro Temp that day was that it would stay on the agenda to continue in readings. So I do acknowledge that per the council group and committee that there are a large number of changes that were decided in committee. However, that was kind of the purpose around this particular piece of legislation because it did not go to committee from the beginning. So when you evade the process, you kind of get that pre-work, you get that, you get the processes jumbled a bit, because if we'd had gone to committee first, we may have been able to avoid so many of the changes that are in this particular document. So they came later. Just wanted to remind council of that process.
Any other discussion?
Mr. President,
Ms. Gaston?
this is for Ms. Dukestein. Is there a new AIA contract with RWB?
No, why would there be?
Is the one that we had before, had it expired? What is the expiration date on that? Do we need to seek a new one?
So I did speak with them to see, because they had expired, to see if they were still willing to do the work at the work quoted, and they are. So the inclusion of this document includes that they would be doing the work per the listing on Exhibit A. And so there will be a new contract, but do we have one to date? No, because that's not what this piece of legislation is about. This piece of legislation was about the work listed in Exhibit A.
Yeah, Mr. President.
Ms. Chichester?
Yes, we had 2 meetings on this, and all of those questions, and even Exhibit A, were talked about extensively. We left the meeting, the second meeting, everyone's questions were answered. We all participated, and we all were participated in amending this, and everyone's suggestions and opinions and thoughts and heart and soul were put into this. We spent 2.5. 2.5. The second one, I'm not even sure how much time on the first one.
talking about this. We've been talking about this all over, and all the documentation that was asked for from administration was presented. All the questions were answered. We already talked about why the part of the building for demo was taken out. We already talked about all the changes that were made in this document. I don't think there should be much more discussion at this point. We all, I'm done, go ahead.
Mr. President?
Ms. Zorb?
So I'd just like to point out that we did discuss this in committee, and I have a different opinion of that we all agreed to this, because I think I was very clear during the committee meeting that I was not okay with this. But I'd also like to point out that the majority of, pardon me, the majority of the changes that were made to Resolution 18 were pulled from Resolution 12, 2025, which was defeated twice in votes. But what isn't carried through from Resolution 12 that failed were things like the not to exceed, the completion date. So even though some of Resolution 12 got carried on, some of what I would consider the most important, the important pieces of criteria didn't even carry through. So that's even more concerning to me.
Mr. President.
Ms. Dukes-Dean?
So I would like to say that I'm looking at the AIA, and it does not actually have an expiration date on here, the draft that I'm looking at. And the agreement from council was that I would apply the changes that we spoke to that night, and that I would ask that you respond within 24 hours. I met the expectation. If there was anything missed, that you would respond. No one responded. To say that any of those things that we talked about, there were a long conversation. We were here quite a few hours. I definitely kept trying to go back and denote the agreed upon changes. I sent the documentation out within the time frame that I committed to, asking that you all also look at the document, review it. I asked specifically if I should send it to just the committee or all of council, and the council group responded and said that I should send it out to all of council so that they could be looped into the conversation. I did so. I feel like if you all want to include those things, then we should have responded based on the time frame set at that meeting, because first, technically, this should have gone over to the clerk, but he wasn't present, and in lieu of trying to make sure that we had met the time frames required, I was working to do that. So that's what I'll say about that.
Mr. President, I have a question.
Ms. Chichester?
Ms. Zorb, why didn't you bring these things up at Budget and Finance? Everybody in here that is a member of Budget and Finance Committee had the opportunity for input and for correction if you felt like something was left out. You were present both times. Never once did you bring that up at Budget and Finance Committee.
Mr. President.
Why wait to council floor when we had ample time for discussion in Budget and Finance
Zorb.
Committee?
Ms. Chichester, as you recall, at that meeting, I didn't have a copy of this.
Ms. Zorb, that's not true.
All right,
I
we're
did not have the
Ladies,
copy with
excuse
me.
We're
Ms.
not
Dukes-Dean
going
was
to.
looking at a digital copy. We
We
did not
can-
have this
We
copy
can go
with
back
us.
to the movie if you all want to prove this later, but we're not going to sit here and argue back and forth.
Oh, I videotaped the whole meeting. I'm trying to release it.
Oh,
Mr.
you
President.
videotaped the whole meeting?
Yes, sir, I did.
Mr. President.
Mr. President.
Mr. Wilson?
So I had provided a copy of the original legislation that was presented to us. We actually did, like I said, it was a very great conversation. We extensively went through it. You know, we all talked and discussed about the amendments that was presented, and the amendments, the issue Ms. Zora brought up, she did not bring that up, but I don't think that that should be a problem, because I believe we could still add that in. I mean, can't we amend the current legislation to make sure that it state that? If you would like to have that in there?
Yeah.
I'm saying I don't think it should be a big issue. We do amendments, let's amend it and put it in there, and then that should solve that problem. And then we can continue moving forward, because we did a great job that day. We walked out of there moving forward, and I'd like to continue doing that.
Then we need to rescind the.
Mr. President,
Ms. Dukestein.
the only other thing that I wanted to add is I actually didn't take any of the language from the prior legislation. The only thing that I did do is correct the name, because the name was incorrect on this 18-2025. So I did make a correction to the name, but there is no other specific language from the other document. I did take the list of, in Exhibit A listed, but that wasn't just in the 18-2025. We talked about in the meeting on Exhibit A, I asked specifically how I would include what we needed. I read it out loud. We agreed that that was the list that I would use, inclusive of the completion of an environmental study. I did not use any language from the prior piece of legislation that was voted down twice. I built this from scratch.
Anyone who hasn't spoke yet want to add to the discussion?
Mr. President.
Mr. Davis?
Okay. First question. So is there still the contract refers to there being a white box state responsibility, but the legislation doesn't. So would it be required to build us back to Bill 1500 back into that white box state or not?
Mr. President,
Ms. Dukestein?
is that question for me?
Anybody that can answer. I just need the answer on.
So I'm trying to understand the question. So you said that the contract says a white box state, but
Yes,
the legislation does not. So is your question, does this current legislation move us to a white box state?
Right. So
Yes,
the contract says that, but it's not mentioned anywhere in here.
We never, on any of the prior or any of the conversation that we had at Budget and Finance Committee, did we talk about putting that in the piece of legislation? I think we were trying to minimize as many changes as possible. The contract does say a white box state. So this says, this is complementary to that because it lists what the contract lists. I did not use the prior legislation. I did use the contract to list that per what I read in Budget and Finance Committee, with the inclusion of on the Exhibit A, letter E, and that was per the recommendation of the committee. And again, that is the completion of an environmental study. Somewhere else in the document, it also indicates that we were going to use the Public Health Department coming in there and doing an assessment of it as well, to get two different entities to kind of confirm that the building would be safe to enter. So that is in the document.
Mr. President.
Ms. Alexander?
I have a question, just for clarity. With the removal of the asbestos, would that be for the entire building or just that interior drywall area?
Ms. Dukestein?
Wherever the asbestos is exposed and causing an environmental concern, that is where we will focus on the abatement of the asbestos.
So not the entire.
No, it does include the
building.
entire building.
It does?
It does.
Yes.
If it's exposed.
An abatement has to be the entire building.
Oh,
It doesn't?
not if it has to be
So-
disturbed. That's not what she just said.
That is not what I just said. That is a correction to what we had in the meeting. We talked about it in the meeting. The contract does actually indicate that the abatement is entirely going to be all of the asbestos. We did not say that in the meeting, but it is in the contract.
So the entire building.
That was
there will
my
be no
miss, not the
asbestos.
contract miss.
But the asbestos for the entire building would
Yes.
be removed, not just where it's exposed or
Yes.
where it might get shaken up? or-
Yes.
Okay. And that's.
Yes.
that's
Anywhere
the
that it
contract.
does not meet the requirement of encapsulation or whatever that is, anywhere in the building, exposure means that it's exposed, not that people are exposed to it.
Mr. President,
Ms. Gaston?
I feel like that there are still a lot of questions. There's still no contract, there's no to exceed. There are some things that are still a little fuzzy, so I would like to call the question.
Okay. I have a motion on the floor by Ms. Chichester, second by Ms. Wilson, Mr. Wilson, to amend resolution number 18, 2025 to the new version that came out of Budget and Finance Committee. I will call the roll. Ms. Zorb?
No.
Ms. Gaston?
No.
Ms. Chichester?
Yes.
Ms. Alexander?
No.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yeah, yes, yes.
Ms. Underwood?
Yes.
Motion passes. All right. So that means we have third reading for resolution number 18-2025, a resolution directing the city administrator to instruct RWB Properties and Construction LLC to proceed with asbestos and mold abatement at 1500 West Galbraith Road and to include the details outlined in Exhibit A and declaring an emergency.
Mr. President,
Ms. Chichester?
make a motion, we adopt resolution 18, 2025.
Mr. President,
Mr. Wilson?
I'll second.
Motion by Ms. Chichester, second by Mr. Wilson, to adopt resolution number 18-2025. Any discussion?
Mr. President,
Ms. Dukestein?
I would just like to add that the document that is before you coincides with the existing contract that is not expired. I just looked at the last the AIA that was sent. So I just wanted to affirm to you all that, and I would also like to say that we are unfortunately at a time crunch as we have tried as a group to move this forward. So I just wanted to keep that in mind, for you all to keep that in mind as you consider your vote.
All right, I have a motion on the floor to adopt Resolution 18-2025 by Ms. Chichester, second by Mr. Wilson. I will call the roll.
Oh, Mr. President, I have a question. I apologize.
Why didn't you ask that when I asked?
Well, I was just thinking about it. I'm mulling it over, and it's never too late.
Okay. I guess I'm reopening discussion. Go ahead, Ms. Underwood.
So I just want to make sure I understand something, that once RWB completes whatever they're going to complete, that we're, as a council, we're going to discuss what we're going to do with the building, whether we're going to keep the building or sell the building. Am I understanding that correctly?
Mr. President.
Ms. Chichester?
Yes, they will, after they do the completion, there's the environmental study, the health department, and then the ad hoc committee also is going to have discussions around what we can use the building for, or if we want to sell the building.
Is that Mr. Wilson's committee?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. President,
Ms. Gaston?
I just want to make sure that we understand, so there was a little bit of confusion earlier. I was talking with a citizen, the ARPA funds that are going to be used for this project, do we have to have this project completed by December 31st of 2026? And if it is not completed by December of 2026, what happens to the ARPA funds?
Mr. President,
Ms. Chichester?
we just have to, if my understanding, we just have to have a project started. It does not need to be completed. Is that the correct?
No.
It needs to be completed?
I'm sorry, the project has to be, I don't understand, because I passed out for the council group the ARPA regulations. The project needs to be started December 31st, 2025. If we have not spent the entirety of the money
I'm sorry.
to finish the project by December 31st, 2026, whether we are in the middle of a project or not, we are required to return the money.
Ms. Stugstein. I'm sorry, Mr. President.
Ms. Chichester?
I have a question for Ms. Stugstein. Sorry, I misunderstood. When you were saying December, I'm thinking December of this year. So I do want to make that clarification. What was the project timeline for completion for this? Was it 6 months, 3 months for that? Just to reiterate so everyone knows where we're standing, since we are going into winter, and then we may be not completed until spring or end of summer of next year.
2 to 4 months.
Thank you.
All right, motion on the floor to adopt Resolution 18, 2025 by Ms. Chichester, second by Mr. Wilson. I will call the roll. Ms. Zorb?
No.
Ms. Gaston?
No.
Ms. Chichester?
Yes.
Ms. Alexander?
No.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
And Ms. Underwood?
Yes.
Motion passes 4-3.
Mr. President, excuse me.
Oh, because it had an emergency clause on it, it fails. That is correct. I apologize, I forgot that the emergency clause was added. That requires 5. So, all right, so it fails. All right, we'll move to second reading of ordinance 07-2025, an ordinance to approve the renaming of portion of Simpson Avenue to Isaac Moore Way in the southwest quadrant. All right, that is all we have for legislation this evening. All right, that will bring us to further remarks from the audience as it pertains to legislation, so if anyone would like to come.
Hi, my name is Susie Whitlisbach, 1620 Flora. My question is for, I think, Ms. Underwood, and it was in regards to the second legislation tonight about the renaming of the street. I know from the last council meeting, you had stated you were going to talk about it in your committee. Have you been able to talk about it? Because as it stands now, the way it's worded, it kind of sounds like we're actually going to rename Simpson, or are we going to make it like in memoriam, like another sign plane above Simpson?
It'll be in memoriam, and we're going to amend the legislation before.
To where it's not worded that we're actually renaming Simpson?
That's exactly correct.
Cool,
We are
because I saw
not-
that and I was like,
Yeah, we are not renaming Simpson.
just making sure. Thank you.
Good evening. Do I have to say my name and
Please.
address on this part? Embry Star, 1514 Northridge Drive. I just want to say, first of all, good evening to everybody, and thank you all. When I first came in, this is still a shocker that it's right in front of me and it's in my hands versus just an idea. So I just want to thank council for taking the time to consider If y'all see the back row, we got a lot of Isaac's close friends, teammates, and best friends, close friends, family, if you will. I just want to show that it is important when we do come together. It is important when you speak on your friends' behalf, your family behalf, because determination is what makes things happen. It makes it possible. So I do want to thank y'all again for making this possible, and I can't wait to see what the turnout is. Ms. Dukestein, I have a file, a video, a recap from our Juneteenth event that we had, but I can't send it through email, and I know that we might not be able to play it through here, but at the next meeting, I would like to get with you so that we can show that to council and anybody else that shows up at the next meeting, if that's possible. I don't know how I would get it to you, though, if I can't send it through email.
If
We'll-
you give me a call.
Yeah,
Sorry.
we can figure that out
For the next
outside
one.
of this, yes.
Okay, that'll work. Other than that, that's all I have.
Thank
Thank you
you.
again.
Anyone else wish to address council regarding the legislations we discussed tonight?
My name is Shiva Stevens-Knott, and I live on 1600 Emerson Avenue. I am actually a citizen, additionally to being the finance manager. And I want to say that there's a part of me that has peace that a decision has been made, but then there's a part of me as a financial person, and that I really hope that this particular council and whoever is in position in the next year recognizes what precedent you have set with the state and the federal government as it relates to grant money. Unfortunately, past practices have a tendency to dictate future performance, and it will quite possibly put us as a city in a bad light as it relates to being able to get dollars moving forward. They will remember that we were unable to make a decision and unable to move forward when we have to write a check and send them their money back. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Annalisa Clear, 6917 Robburn Drive. I wanted to kind of a little bit piggyback off of what Ms. Stevens-Knott just stated. There was multiple cities who were in this exact same situation. This was a very special circumstance grant. It wasn't like a typical competitive grant. Speaking of competitive grants, we talked in one of the previous meetings about the Veterans Park project. That was a very competitive.
Veterans Park project was not part of the legislation we
Oh,
discussed
okay.
this
I just
evening.
wanted about the grant. Sorry, I was asking about grants. Okay, never mind.
Good evening again. I just want to clarify the ARPA funds that have been the root cause problem in our city for a while and not knowing how to spend it. When did the city receive those funds? What year? What month? Does anyone know? So Ms. Dukestein, do you recall when the city received ARPA funds?
Ms. Kirton, no, I do not, because they were before my time.
Mayor Nichols, do you recall when the city received ARPA
We
funds?
received multiple streams of ARPA funds beginning. Yeah, it was COVID relief, so they began in 2020, 2021.
So the city's.
Those particular funds, I do not have the exact date because we received multiple.
Understood.
Yeah.
So the city's had the money for at least 2 or 3 years. Would you say so?
Some monies, but some of them we didn't get until later on. Some probably came at the end of last year.
The
year
ARPA
before
funds
that.
came at the end of last year?
Just depending on when you've signed documents, get it back to them, and when they finish. I didn't say all of them. I said they come at different times.
Okay.
So you have to follow and meet certain criteria. And you
Understood.
have to turn in things to the state before they release those funds.
Mr. President,
Ms. Underwood?
Ms. Curitan, it's a little more complicated than what everybody is saying. So there were several projects that had deadlines, and those deadlines, there were contracts that needed to be approved one of the projects was the splash pad, but those contracts sat on someone's desk and the deadlines passed. So, then, there was, we had to consider what else we could use those funds for. And again, things sat on desk and nothing happened. So now we're at this state where we're kind of backed into a corner, and this, this is where it is. So it's a little more complicated than we got this one bucket of money. It was just, there were multiple streams, and there were some things that were taken care of, but.
Understood. Yeah, I think I recall that meeting, Ms. Underwood, where the gentleman came all the way from Chicago and presented council with a full plan for a splash pad for the city of North College Hill.
Splash pad's not on the agenda.
Yes, sir, I apologize, but it was part of the funds that are part of the legislation. So I just want to thank Ms. Alexander, Ms. Beverly Gaston, and Ms. Zorb for doing the right thing. I know that sometimes when you are in a very tight situation, you sometimes want to just say yes and get it done. But all of these people and those who were at the town hall said they don't want it. They want that building torn down. So I know that you all had some really hard decisions to make. Some said yes, some said no. But remember, there are citizens in this audience, citizens online, citizens who have completed surveys, citizens who came to a town hall, and the majority of the vote is they do not
30 seconds.
want 1,500 in its current state. So here are the citizens, as we move forward as a city, tomorrow is election day, as we move forward as a city, listen to your citizens. Listen to the ones that you serve. Thank you.
Thank you. I understand that. Ms. Wheatlisbach was up first.
I'll state my name. I haven't moved in the last 5 minutes, so I'm still at 1624. But, so it's been stated tonight, it seems like from what Ms. Underwood stated, is that this has been a process, and it seems like a couple balls were dropped, and now they're at the end, we're like, oh God, we're about to lose these funds. But one thing I've learned is that you don't want to rush and try to spend money before you lose it. You could end up making a big mistake. So I really appreciate the fact that council administration took the time to talk about this, to figure this out, and realize it wasn't the best idea for the city. Thank you.
Mr. President, when Ms. Dukestein is done.
I am I'm Maria Stupstein, and I live at 6842 Marvin Avenue. And whilst I understand that no one wanted to make a decision under pressure, it is the unfortunate circumstance that we were faced with having to make a decision under pressure. I too would like to thank all of the countless late night meetings that were had around this. And I would say that at the end of the day, it is disheartening to see the resources returned. I do not agree that this will not be a blight on us as a city to return those funds. I've spoken with some of the other communities that have had to return the funds. I've spoken with Hamilton County. I was more than happy to bring that representative out to talk about what it would mean for us as a city if we had to return the funds. So Ms. Clear is accurate in the fact that we did not have to compete for the funds. However, the narrative is still the same, whether you competed for the funds or not, that you did not utilize the resources within the parameters of the grant given.
All right, we will move on to old business.
Mr. President.
Oh, I'm sorry. Madam Mayor.
Nope, and it looked like a citizen.
She wanted to speak on the legislation of the street. She tried to get up several times.
So Embry Heights Tower, 1514 North Ridge Drive, I either have not moved. So with the funds being returned though, what happens from there? Are those funds that we would never see again?
That's
Are
correct.
It's just a loss?
Yes.
Okay, I agree that that is really disheartening. To Ms. Curitan, I watched the town hall meeting, and I also spoke about having or creating something new for our youth, which was a More Life Recreation Center. So it's just like now, and I think a recreation center is bigger than a splash pad for those that agreed to have a splash pad. So now, what would be put in place for our youth? What would happen?
That's not the discussion that's at hand here.
Okay, will it be like in the next meeting or something?
Yeah, we'll have to continue this discussion, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Umbre, can I ask you a question? So you were in favor of the building, so it's not that everyone was against?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to be clear on your
That's it.
stance.
I stand
Thank you.
for the building.
Michael Curitan, 6718 Devonwood. Now that the legislation failed, is there still a need for ad hoc committee for 1500?
Mr. President?
Ms. Chichester?
Yeah, we still have to do something. We can't just leave it abandoned.
Mr. President,
Mr. Wilson?
I was about to say, I didn't think just because the legislation failed that eliminated the ad hoc committee. There's still a committee to have a discussion about 1500. So in this, going into there, we already know that part of our greatest discussion is going to be funding.
Mr. President, I'm sorry.
Linda Stagman, 1833 Waltham. There's just not enough information. It's not all laid out. It's like when I put siding on the house, I'm not going to sign a contract if there's still questions, because if it's not in writing, you don't know if it's going to happen. When we did my mother's bathroom, he said everything's going to be in writing, and then we'll start. If the toilet's going to be put back, anything. So you've got to have the contracts. The questions have to be answered. Somehow or the other, we're not communicating with each other, and one thing asks for the other, and the other doesn't know how to answer that question or something, and you can't go back later and say this is what needs to be done. The contractor's going to say you didn't talk about this. He can lie. He can do whatever. And I'm sorry, my experience with this particular contractor, I don't really have a lot of confidence in him. So that's my own little personal vendetta. I think that we're right to wait, and we still have 6 more weeks to this year. I don't see where we can't have a special meeting or another special meeting. We've had, usually the end of the year is full of special meetings because you've got the budget and you've got this and that and the other. And yes, it's a personal thing, but you know, that's all part of the job. It's all part of what we're doing.
Mr. President.
If we've got a deadline, then we need to make use of maybe those next 6 weeks and try to answer those questions and get it done.
Mr. President.
Ms. Dickstein?
I'd like to respond to you, Ms. Stagman. So the reason why the legislation had an emergency clause is because if you do not have an emergency clause on a piece of legislation, you cannot act on it for 30 days. Today is November the 3rd. So even if we were to do something else, unless you move mountains and also put another an emergency clause on a piece of legislation, you would not be able to start the work before December 31st, 2025.
Erica Underwood, 1282 Norman Avenue. I am a resident and citizen of North College Hill. I would just ask my fellow council members, we sat in additional meetings for hours. I will never get those hours back. So I would just ask that if we are going to have special meetings, I don't mind that because I do this as a service to my community, but I don't want to waste my time.
Absolutely.
Madam Mayor?
I think someone else.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right, we're going to move on. Old business. One item of old business I would like to get an update on is a new clerk for council.
Mr. President,
Ms. Gaston?
Ms. Underwood and I have worked together, and we have the qualifications for the clerk position ready, and we will roll out an email for all of council this week.
Thank you. Any other old business?
I have, Mr. President,
Go ahead.
I just wanted to get an update on Veterans Park and see where we are with that project.
I think we talked about this several times. Veterans Park, the resources have been identified. Ms. Shiva Stevens-Knott and I, Ms. Shiva Stevens-Knott and the recreational director and I are working together to make sure that the, actually the previous recreational director left notes as to the, what the application entailed, and like there was a wheelchair ramp. Ms. Clear's here, she can vouch for the fact that she put there, so we're looking tangibly into those things to make sure that we can satisfy the changes and that it aligns with the grant asks and the parameters of the grant. That's what we said last time as well. And I think that conversation was had maybe your last meeting.
Mr. President,
Ms. Gaston?
I just want to clarify, at our last meeting, I may be mistaken, but I thought that the project was going to be completed by the end of this year, so I just didn't know if they had started yet or not. So that's what I meant with, and as far as
No one said that the project would be completed by this year.
Okay, thank you.
Any other old business?
I said that the POs were out there. I did not say it will be completed.
Any new business?
Mr. President,
Ms. Zorb?
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Mr. President.
Well, they don't agree on much.
Ms. Underwood?
I second that.
All right, before I call the roll, I do again want to thank Clover Nook Center for the Blind. I do know that Metro, there's some boards out there, but I do ask that we expedite looking at them and asking our questions, as Mr. Mike wants to go home sometime tonight. He can't leave until we all do. It's election day, go vote. All right, I have a motion to adjourn by Ms. Zorb, second by Ms. Underwood. Any discussion?
There's no discussion.
I will call the roll. Ms. Zorb?
Yes.
Ms. Gaston?
Yes.
Ms. Chichester?
Absolutely.
Ms. Alexander?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Ms. Underwood?
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. We are adjourned.